All right, welcome back to the Rock World Rumble, presented by Innova Champion Disc, hosted by the St. Louis Disc Golf Club. We have Zackeriath Johnson, Andrew Presnell, Phil McGuire, and Nick Hanson, all within two strokes of each other. Nick's got a tie with Taylor, and then there's a big tie at five down, tied for 7. So tight leaderboard after round 1 at Endicott. Now we head over to Carrollton Park for the final round of the Killer Bees Series, the 2023 Killer Bees Series. Those that missed round 1 coverage of the Passage is out there on the YouTube. Go check it out. Good battles by Andrew and Zackeriath. We had Phil on card during round 1. Hole 1 here at Carrollton is a huge downhill par 5 at 738 with OB Road down the whole left side. Phil throws straight at the OB Road, taking the roller route, and somebody get that disc for a speeding ticket. Goodness gracious, what a throw by Phil. Just to have the faith in the roller and for it to come back over the curve. Looked like some traffic violations going on there. Goodness, Phil. So it's a big, real quick shout out here. We got Isaac Goldbach from Gatekeeper Media. He is on the T-Cam for this round because Nick Hanson, who's a sponsored Gatekeeper Media Millennium team player on the card. When Nick's not playing, he's also running camera work for Gatekeeper, and him and Isaac were on their way to another A-tier after this event and then the Music City Open. And so like they stopped in, played the St. Louis event. Nick got on card. Isaac's like, hey, I'll run T-Cam for you. So just overall, big thanks to them guys for doing it. This will be the first time we got Nick on coverage, and he has a lot of distance, both forehand and backhand, so it's going to be fun to watch here. We got some really long throwers on this card between Zackeriath's forehand, Andrew, Nick, and Phil. Phil can just crush and lay down any type of line, any type of throw. Phil was lead card final round at the St. Louis Open in 2022. And Andrew in for the eagle. Going 10 down now for the tournament. And Phil's in for the eagle. I don't know why. Get hyped for these eagles. There were 6 of them on hole 1. Brock Roller, Corey Folkens, Dustin, and now Nick Hanson. So 6 eagles, 14 birdies on this hole for hole 1. Don't let those scores fool you. This is a daunting starting hole. All downhill, OB down the left, natural OB down the right. So straight into hole 2, 600-foot par 4. Players throwing uphill, and then as you get towards the basket, you slowly drop down. and then immediately behind the basket, it slopes hard towards the OB road that is long. So again, those that haven't been with us for coverage at Carrollton Park, we are bumped right up next to the airport, so we won't have any drone footage for you from the front nine. We decided to carry that all the way through all 18 for this round. So just 18 holes of throwing some discs. Big drive by Nick. Crushed. And that checked up nicely. Yeah, right here behind the basket, there is OB to contend with. It does slope away. And he just stays in bounds. The sidewalk is in bounds. It's the road only, road and beyond for these holes. Those that hadn't had an opportunity or that might not have yet, I encourage everybody to go play Carrollton Park. It's if you're looking for a long, challenging course that doesn't have a lot of trees, it's something different from a lot of the previous courses we've seen so far this weekend. I encourage you to go play Carrollton. It's one of my favorites in the St. Louis area. They can play really long when it's set up that way. As the birdie comebacker for Zackeriath. And it's kind of unique. It's the park is built, pretty much taken over what used to be a neighborhood here by the airport. And then, as my understanding is that the land was bought by the airport of the city. They turned it into a park now, so you can see where houses used to be with the way that tree and tier steps, and it really adds a different kind of unique perspective to the course and the way it's laid out. The club does an awesome job at maintaining it. It's one of my favorite courses to play in the St. Louis area. Hole 2 was the fourth easiest hole for the round, playing at .2 under par. And heading into hole 3 now, 340 foot. It's fairly straight off the tee. You have bamboo on the left side that can really make it tough to get out of. This is it's at a pin location that is definitely aceable for these players with these hyzer routes. You just want to throw it out over the right. You're kind of going towards the OB road over here, and that's why right there Andrew almost rings up the base of the pole. Still now, who's currently tied at 11 down with the leader, looking get something close, keep that momentum going. He hangs out a little wider than Andrews and off the OB road, so he's gonna have a lot longer putt, but he's safe in bounds back there. And he just got it a little too high, caught those limbs, and he's going to be short of the basket, just getting knocked down behind that bush there, the guardian bush. And Zackeriath just ringing it up, doing the same thing, and man, it just got some movement going off that rollaway, coming off that little slope. There is a kind of a quick, steep slope there right behind the basket, as these what used to be house lots, as they stair step down the hills. Now Phil for his birdie. There it is. Falling away from that putt, trying to get it over the cage. Andrew in for a solo lead now. Who's hitting their car button? Come on, fellas. And fell in for par, so through 3. Our card is still all within 2 of each other. That's the trouble, going a little wide out to the right there. Make sure you can bring it back into the pin, is that you got some trees over there to contend with on that right side. Nick getting just inside him. There, he's inside the circle with that skip. So good drive by Nick and Andrew to get him inside C1. It can be an intimidating putt there looking at the OB. There's plenty of room to miss and let it roll around, as you can see Zach was able to do. But just from the angle that the players are at, it looks like it's really close. Catching on the back of the basket. Good par save. To Nick for his second throw. This putt for birdie. And Andrew not taking the foot off the gas, just knocking them in one after another on this front nine at Carrollton Park. He eagled the first hole. He's birdied the last 3 in a row. 800-foot par 5 here on hole 5. Definitely has an opportunity for another birdie. And that's the play. Something out to the right. Let it skip up on the fairway. Don't leave it so far right that you don't get it back in, of course. But as long as you're getting on the edge, coming across that road, you're pretty much going to skip back in bounds. We just see that's where everybody goes. Almost everybody goes off the tee. Getting a lot of power behind it with uphill run up over there. Had a tree cake, but it looked like it kept it moving forward. This is Nick's third shot. Oh, it skipped up over the basket and the wind held it up. Again, like hole 2, sidewalk is inbounds. Just the road. On and over is OB. So Nick, after his flare skip, wind held it up, takes him to the edge of circle 1. Just right of the basket. Now Andrew for a bird to take him in the 14 down. He has had 5 straight holes birdie or better. Ooh, just out of there with that falling out of the basket. Now Phil, who started with an eagle and a birdie, has gone 3 in a row for pars. When these guys are shooting the way they are, pars are not going to keep you in it for this round, not against this field. Hole 6, 240-foot par 3, downhill all the way to the pin. Good line by Nick. Oh, great bid off the top of the banner. And Zach in for yet another birdie, going 4 down now through 6 for him. But this shot to Andrew will take him seven down through 6. Nick for his birdie opportunity.
Hole, guys.
Hole 7 is a 535-foot par 4. Notoriously uphill hole here. Just push as far as you can down this right side, then you decide how you want to get across all the trees. The basket's going to be setting left of the players are at, so pretty much up the hill, and then you're going to jump over the trees down the middle to the left side. There's a few gaps on the way up there, or you can take a high route. Anybody hitting early and short, I don't think Zach's is short enough, but you usually see them, you know, laying up to the gaps. Great shot by Phil. Almost getting on flat ground. Yeah, he didn't like where it finished. It's going to be tough footing there on the side of that slope. Good bid. So you see these players trying to throw something that gets up and over the top of the trees in the middle. Andrew does have a look at the gap. It's got to keep it low. It is obstructed the higher you go on it. And he successfully gets through there. So yeah, those are your two options. Nick, who pushed it way down the fairway, just crushing his drive, is going to have to go around the back of all the trees. Doesn't have to throw it nearly as high because of how far back he was. And he'll have that remaining for his birdie. So Zach with a huge putt. Good birdie by Andrew, cleaning it up. Going 16 down now through 7. He has not had a par or bogey at all for this round. And now Nick and Zach in for their pars. All right, straight in the hole 8. 535 par 4. This could be a tough one with around the basket location. It's fairly flat once you get to that point as we watch Andrew throwing a roller. That's a fair play to get it down to the corner or around the corner. But I think unbeknownst to Andrew, or just not realizing it, but there are some pretty nasty looking ruts in the ground here. And Phil himself also hit them. So those are just killing any rollers that might be going across that area. So after a rough go, you can see the ruts now that Phil got caught up in, Andrew as well. Oof, off that tree, but those things are just going to kill any momentum a disc has on the ground. And that's a great looking spot to be right there. The slope is just so steep right behind the basket. Anything down there, the basket's going to be over your head, and it's going to be a really tough comebacker to make. Nix is on top, but he's going to have a tough looking putt from there. So now, Zach, you can see just how much of an elevation difference there is from discs that go long and down that hill, trying to make that comeback putt. Phil in the same position. Nick elected to just lay it up underneath the basket. Does not want to mess with that slope back there, missing. Nick in for par. Hole 9, 630-foot par 4. This is going to require a crush off the tee just to get you in a position where you can play the rest of the hole as a par 3, you know, picking your gaps. You want to stay middle fairway. There's gaps left and right side from the trees that are in the middle that could still give you a good angle to the basket. If you do get out of play on the left or your OB on the right, you are really going to struggle being able to get up to the basket on your second shot. It's so far back, especially where Zackeriath just landed. Everybody missed on that left side. See if Phil can keep it out to the right. He does, but he too hit a tree over there. But that kick where he's at, much better position than being too far left.
Just get down and bounce. Thank you. Nope, that's slid off the grass.
Now Andrew leaning out for his forehand approach shot. A little bit further down the fairway than what Nick was, but it looked like his was a little bit further left as well. And Zach doing the same.
Wasn't worse, but it definitely killed it.
Long birdie opportunity by Zach, but he's there. It's definitely not out of the picture. Phil throwing a hyzer around the tree, trying to get it in there tight. Good up shot by Phil. Just off the metal by Nick. Man, that was such a solid bid to try to save par on this long par 4 hole 9. Andrew in for a bogey as well. Just getting out to that left side, you can really be out of position to make a play on the course. Round 2. So through 9 holes here, Zackeriath Johnson and Nick Hanson both shooting 4 down on the round, but Andrew Presnell is shooting a hot round of 8 down. He's 16 down for the tournament, 3-stroke lead over second place. Andrew did not have a bogey till that last hole. All around, he was on pace to be shooting 9 down through 9 until the bogey. So tough bogey break, still has a 3-stroke lead, and we'll see you guys on the back 9.